Dr. Dasgupta, you want to go first and give us where you think, is WHO right or GOI right? Or does the truth lie in between?
Thank you. I think the framing of the question is not whether WHO is right or India is right. The point is that these are models what are called parsimonious models. And these models are always a struggle between comprehensiveness and comprehensibility. And that's why parsimonious models are chosen to work with limited data. But at the same time, it also means that the mean value that's projected actually lies between a wide range of a possible low and a possible high. So for India, if you see some of these individual figures, and therefore it's necessary to go to the attached Excel data sheets that the WHO has provided, this range is pretty wide. And therefore, it is quite possible that instead of the mean about which so much of heat and dust has been raised, could actually be wrong, but it may still fall within the lower range of these estimates. And that's for the country to argue based on now the fact that we have the 2020 civil registration system available. It's possible to make a much stronger argument now by the country.
But still you're saying it is underreporting, but not possibly at the scale that WHO is saying, but possibly at a lower end of the scale. So we are looking even still, Dr. Swaminathan, at potentially 5x. 5x of the numbers, 5.23 lakhs if I look at. I'm looking at 25 lakh people died. Interestingly, as Professor Mukherjee says, not directly necessarily of COVID, but also possibly indirectly because of medical system not providing enough to them during COVID times.
You're going back a couple of years. I'm going to go back 150 years to quote Mark Twain. He attributed this to Disraeli. He said, there are three kinds of lies. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. The problem is statistics should never be relied on to give you the truth. It should only be relied on to give you a support when you already know what it is. So therefore, the problem with this is that a lot of the data sets are very muddy. And then you're trying to put together a lot of muddy data sets and somehow thinking that out of this rubbish you'll get a diamond. You're not going to get a diamond, you're just going to get a lot of rubbish again. See, in statistics we have this principle called GIGO. Garbage in, you can garbage out. You're not going to get diamond out of it. See, I must first congratulate the WHO first. Let's congratulate the WHO for creating an effective smoke screen. China's death is estimated to be anywhere up to 17,000% higher than what they have reported. WHO has still not figured out what the hell happened in China 2 years ago. They've decided that's a lost cause. So they're trying to move on to something else which is a good smoke screen. So see, every country has underreporting. Even the US, the estimates are between about 20 to 30% underreporting. So underreporting at a smaller scale is inevitable in every country. That's not unusual at all. The scale is the point. Now, obviously, China is a master at this, where they're able to do something and nobody even talks about it and nobody even dare question about it. Unfortunately, we are a soft target and therefore everybody would like to run us down. Now, I think there is a alternative.
No, what's the solution? No, Dr. Swaminathan, if you're saying that, and I agree, there is statistics, more statistics at damn lies. The fact though is that we can't use China as a defense. We need to give a more robust defense. So what is India's defense going to be? To say when WHO turns around and says there are 47 lakh deaths?
Absolutely. I was looking at a couple of things. Number one, the one which Dr. Vinod Paul has put out about the death registry. The other thing I was also looking at was the life insurance claims. Have the insurance claims gone up? Yes. Have they gone up astronomically? No, not really. They have gone up a little more than what you would expect year on year. See, a lot of middle class people died. Upper middle class, lower middle class, everybody. And all of them had life insurance policies. Let's look at the insurance claims. That's another way of looking at it. Why is it that these kind of data sets are not being used? Let's look at unconventional data sets which people would not think of muddying.
How will you measure rural deaths then? How will you know? Insurance deaths is a very good metric to measure people in middle class and urban India. But what about rural India?
Absolutely. See, my point is, if there is underreporting in that, then you can extrapolate and say in the lower category of people where non-availability of services could be even higher, and you can say it's much higher. But my point is, even there, the metric is not too far off. My point is that you'd have to really say that we had a disaster in the countryside, and really nothing much happening in the metros and the tier 2 and the tier 3 cities for you to envisage such a large difference. And I'm sorry, that did not happen. You're going to say that, it only happened in the community, in the hinterland, but not in the major towns and cities. That doesn't make sense. So you cannot expect such a large disparity. Look at the numbers. I just did about 1 hour ago, I was looking at LIC's data over the last couple of years. Has there been a spike? There has been a spike for 2021 and 2021, whatever the last one that they reported. Clearly. But is it an astronomical spike? No. Is it out of proportion to what it was the previous year? Yes. But I would expect this for the number of deaths that we had. So, this doesn't look like an outlandish number. And it's not like they've rejected. Look at the number of rejections as well.
So do we look at insurance claims? You're saying one, which is an interesting matrix to look at. Is the other to just get our civil registration data more up to date, much more robust than it is at the moment?
Absolutely. See, we need to measure this in various different ways and acknowledge that each of them has its own limitations. See, ultimately the problem is all these data sets will not measure the most vulnerable part of the community. See, registration is required only when you need legal affidavit or some paperwork and things like that. The same kind of people are the ones who are going to apply for life insurance and stuff like that. So in a sense, you have a problem that the really vulnerable people are always going to be underrepresented no matter what you do. So you'll have to come up with another way. I like this idea of doing election. But here's the problem. When you have a vested interest in giving numbers, that also is going to be a problem, because if they feel that by giving some data that somebody died in my home due to COVID, I may get some financial benefit, then again, it's no longer a very honest exercise. So there's no simple way of doing it. That's why I'm telling you, we got to be very, very careful when we look at statistics. We can say this is the outside number. And like was mentioned beautifully, it is a huge range. It is an absolutely huge range. And there is no way on earth you can say that one number is right and the other number is wrong. And it is also always nice to speculate that some people are doing much worse than you are. See, I will ask WHO to suggest, I will suggest another project for WHO. Maybe they can look at why Africa is not getting enough vaccines while there is a cannibalistic attitude towards more and more doses of vaccines being given in some parts of the world. This vaccine inequity is something they can look at and how that is contributing to that. Isn't that a bigger humanitarian crisis now? Now, I don't know. They are more interested in looking at what happened in the past.